Hey there, folks. Mr. Guy back with another video today. Today, what we're going to be talking about is the second of two web-based platforms that we use a lot of here at Lakeside, which is Schoology. Schoology is our warehouse for all the student work that they're doing all day long here in the building. And as parents and family members, guardians, we oftentimes don't really know how to use that program successfully to help navigate where things are located. So the purpose of this very short video is to kind of give you some very brief basics on how to use the Schoology program. As with the first video, there is going to be a feedback form at the end. Please do me a favor and leave me some feedback. I feel like I'm talking on a YouTube. Subscribe. No, I just need feedback. Part of our goals this year as counselors is to do things that are helping families as a whole. And so in order to collect data, I have these feedback forms. So it should be found in the newsletter. There will also be a link at the end of this that you can type in and access my feedback form. So thank you in advance. All right, so to find Schoology, you can get to Schoology on the school's website. So we shrink me down here a little bit. If we scroll down on the school's website, again to the midpoint of the page, there are these school links. We talked about Parent Portal last time. We're going to go two down from there. Schoology is located here on the quick links page. There are a couple of access points on the website, but that's the easiest and the most in your face is down that way. Schoology has its own username and password. It's the same one that you sign in with for Parent Portal. So if you've already set up a Parent Portal password, it's the same one. Really, there are two ways to access Schoology. The easiest way is just to sign on using your credentials that I just talked about. The other way is to get your student's username and password. There is some benefit to this because their version of Schoology as a student looks slightly different than ours as parents, and it's actually way more in depth. So if you're looking for a lot more specific information about things like class notes and things like that, you might find the student version easier to navigate. But as parents, we do have access as well. Ironically, you can find Schoology on Parent Portal as well. So if we look at the example of Parent Portal, that little menu bar that's typically on the left-hand side of Parent Portal. If you scroll all the way down, there's one called Schoology Parent. So if you're on Parent Portal, you can click on that as well as this link on the school website to get to the parent version of Schoology. Again, it's your normal username and password to sign on to Schoology, same one as Parent Portal. Okay, once you're on Schoology, you're going to see a bunch of different folders or classes. I'm going to show you the slideshow and then I'll show you with my own child's version what it looks like so you can see it in practice. Kind of like grading, when you get to Schoology, teachers set up their Schoology pages in a variety of different ways. We are trying to streamline it so that there's a little bit of uniformity in terms of where to go to look for things, but some teachers do have some slight variations. So you might have to play around with their folders to try to find the information that you're looking for. In this example, this is actually created by Ms. Anderson. So we see a lot of Ms. Anderson's classes for Science Block 1, Science Block 2, and her CHOMP. In order to get to the student information, you just click on whichever folder for the class you're looking for. So for your child, you may see a math and English, science, history, electives, homeroom folders, and things like that. Once you have clicked on a folder, you're going to see a page that looks pretty similar across the board. It's going to be Lakeside. It's going to have the correct year there since this is an older slide. It still says 21, 22. And you're going to see some links of commonly used pages that the teacher might assign, like Desmos calculator, the schedule for the class, the help desk there. Those are just quick links for the students to use. You probably won't have to use that too much as a parent. Most of the pages are set up down slightly underneath that where it's going to be, my image is in the way now, the most current unit. Usually teachers are marking the most current unit with big words that say current unit or putting it at the very top of the page. Some way for you all, maybe even just the dates beside it, some way for you all as parents to know what they're working on in class. But you'll see in this example, there are a couple of different folders here. Teachers are adding to these folders as the year progresses. So to find more about the current unit that they're working on, you click on the unit 6 energy, and that's going to pull up all the lessons that were in unit 6, ranging from lesson 1 to lesson 7. In this particular case, lesson 7 being the one that they're currently working on. And you can see in this example from last year, Ms. Anderson even put the dates beside it so that parents and students knew exactly which folder to go into. Those folders really do contain the meat and potatoes of what the kids were working on that day in class. So like if I click on lesson 7, it's going to show you the learning goals. It's going to show you the to-do list. It's going to show you the actual step-by-step procedures that the kids had to go through that day. And if I click on these down here, I'll get even to more detail and see the actual lesson that they were working on. Now, why is all this important? Well, it's important because oftentimes if you're using this program in conjunction with Power or Parent Portal, you might find that your kid's got a missing assignment. So now on Schoology, if you know what date range you're looking for that assignment, and your child's needing some guidance at home and trying to help them figure out what they are supposed to be working on, a parent can help sit down, or a guardian can help them sit down and actually go through the folder with them to try to find the work that is missing. The other reason that this is important is because just like everybody, kids get sick. And even though we're living in a post-COVID-esque type of world, we still have students that are going to have to miss significant chunks of time in a row because a family member or themselves are sick. And so by signing on to Schoology each day, they can theoretically keep up with the lessons because everything is right here. Teachers are obviously going to have some things that take place in class, and the students aren't held accountable for that when they are absent. But theoretically, if we're talking about best practices, and as they are getting older, what the high school expects, the high school is going to expect that kids sign on to these pages and are helping to navigate these things for themselves. So Schoology is really fairly simple to use, but it becomes a little bit trickier because every student's or every teacher's page looks slightly different. So I'm going to show you on my own child what that might look like. So if I sign in, I'm going to see all of his different classes here. So let's say I wanted to learn more about math. I can click on his math folder, and you can see here it's got a bunch of the quick links. So like the school's website, class info, the IXL page, Reflex, Desmos calculator, et cetera, et cetera. You can see Ms. Craft has got the most current unit at the top, and it's big and right in your face, current unit. And so if I click on that, I can go and dig into what the unit is about and all the work that they have been doing leading up to it, including the most recent stuff, because I'm making this video on 10/10. Ms. Craft just doesn't happen to be here today. So I can go in and I can see what the students were actually working on that day in class. So she's very nicely put the learning objectives, the to-do list, vocabulary, materials, and then a list of all the different things that they were working on in class with hyperlinks so that I can click back and get to that work, including the choice boards, which are, hey, it's almost Halloween time here when this video is being made. So there's a nice little Halloween theme. But if I look, this particular teacher has set up their page slightly different than the other teachers that my son has. So if I go back to the main page, and I wanted to look at his history class, you'll see that my links here at the top are slightly different, but they're all still in the same place. And now I can see all the different things that Ms. Wood has set up for the unit. So they are working on the reconstruction unit. But here I've got to pay closer attention to the dates because I can see, oh, this was 8:30 and down here is like 10:03. So we're moving in a little bit of a different order here with the older lessons being at the top and the newer lessons being at the bottom. So because teachers are putting dates or names like current unit and things like that, it does make it a little bit easier. And like I said, every teacher's got a slight different variation of how they set things up, but the overall goal is the same, where they will spell out exactly what happened in class that day. If I were to look up here, there's a little icon with a calendar on it. And if I click on that, it's going to show me a calendar of what's been going on this week and the different lessons that were due, different things that they needed to work on throughout the week, and it includes all their different classes. You can spread it out by month, you can do it by week, you can do it by day. The month view for me is my favorite, so that's the one I usually leave it on. But it's just yet another tool to help them organize themselves. As a parent, it's nice to be able to sign on this because I don't always hear at home what exactly is going on in terms of classwork. My best advice in terms of Schoology is just play around with it a little bit and really try to get the feel for the different teachers' pages. It can be a little bit tricky because some of you as eighth grade parents probably have like 9 different classes on there, and that may mean 9 different views. Like I said, there are slight variations, but the overall setup is the same for just about everybody. Um, Play around with the program. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. If you could, please fill out the feedback form to say whether or not this video was helpful or not. I appreciate your time, and I will see you all soon.